Hello and welcome to another episode of Teens on the Road, the one and only podcast for full-time RVing teenagers. I'm your hostess, Kayla, and here with us today is fellow nomad, Annie. We will be discussing her
Hello.
thoughts on RV living and some of the experiences she's had over the years. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. So tell us where you are in the world.
We are in Florida. We're near Bradenton. We're about 30 minutes away from Anna Maria Island, so we're able to go to the beach and beat this summer heat, that's for sure.
That's good, because I know it's hot there right now.
Yes, ma'am.
We're in Oklahoma, and today it's like 104 or something. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but, stay inside all day, and then you're fine.
You're right.
So, Annie, tell me about your family story. What prompted you guys to start traveling?
So, I grew up in Illinois for about 7 years, and then we moved to Florida for about 1 year, and that's where we launched from. So it's a kind of a funny story because my parents have been watching YouTube videos and seeing these families traveling, and they're like, this looks pretty cool. And my dad goes to my mom and he's like, hey, so how about we do this? And my mom's like, no, bro, you're insane. What are you thinking? Like, come on. It's traveling in an RV across the country, homeschooling our children. No, that's not happening. But I don't remember clearly or remember when specific it was after. But my mom has a dream telling her that we should move into an RV. So next thing we know, we have our truck and our trailer and are going across the country. And we've been on the road for about 5 years now.
That's awesome. That reminds me of Joseph and Mary, where it's like, Joseph, you need to go.
Yes, it's kind of what it felt like because we were just out almost a month after. We were like, okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
You guys are just like, let's go.
Yep, time to go.
Yep. So how did you adjust to that change? How old were you?
I was not 14 now. Um, it was I was really optimistic and really excited about it because living in an RV, traveling across the U.S., seeing all these beautiful sights is just something. It's just amazing, right? It's not something every kid gets to experience. Um, I will say it was hard at first though because just starting out, we were going quickly across all the states, getting as many as we could, thinking we were only going to travel for about a year. Here we are 5 years later, right? But
Yep.
trying to go across, getting as many states as we can, and we weren't really focusing on connecting with families, which was really hard at first. So that took a little while to adjust to. When eventually, maybe like a year later, we finally kind of started connecting with other families, and it really made everything a whole lot better.
Awesome. So what was your main challenge starting out? Just lack of friends?
I would say that, but also I was also kind of homesick as well. But
Mm,
then homeschooling had something to do with it because I was so used to living in a environment where you're sitting at a desk listening to the teacher for like 8 hours a day, right?
yep.
But this homeschooling really put just changed everything completely. So I would say that was a little hard because I have two younger siblings, so trying to work with them around and my mom trying to teach all of us was not the easiest,
Mm,
obviously, because their attention span can only go for so long, right?
right.
So trying to learn with them was harder, but I've adapted to that a lot more recently, which has been good.
That's good. And you're in 8th, ninth grade?
I am in eighth grade. I'm going into ninth grade this year.
Yep. That's fun. So how does your mom teach you now, homeschooling?
So at first, it was a lot of her reading us books and we would fill up papers kind of thing. But as the years progressed, I kind of started doing my own stuff on my own. So I do this thing since we're registered um, residents in Florida. They have this
Mhm.
free homeschool curriculum called Florida Virtual School, and I do a couple programs through them. Um, and I have an actual teacher that I can message and call if I need help with something. And it's all like self-paced and you do all the things by yourself kind of thing. And then I also just do side books with pencil and paper kind of thing on my own. Read some pages, take some notes, take tests, things like that. So my mom doesn't really do much work with me individually anymore as much as she does with my younger brothers.
Yeah, and that's what happens with homeschooling when you get older. You're just getting into a groove and you're like, okay, I can do this on my own.
Exactly, exactly. You've kind
Yep.
of like adapted and how to learn on your own sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's pretty sweet about free curriculum.
Yes, it's definitely an advantage. I know some other states provide it, but I think Florida is the maybe the number one.
Hmm. So, before you started out, was there something you thought you would hate about RV living but ended up liking?
Um, I can't say there's anything specifically. Um, because I was very optimistic at first, because like, oh, we're moving into an RV and we're gonna go visit all these beautiful countries, states, see all these beautiful states and see all these amazing national parks. So I wouldn't say there was something that I, yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything specific.
The major optimist.
Yes.
Good.
But then from it was good, obviously. But then from there, it kind of like as you're seeing the places, you're like, okay, this is cool, this is really pretty and everything. Then it kind of starts to go down, and you're like, okay, this is just how I'm living now, right? Like all the excitement's in the beginning. Now you just like learn that it's just what you're living in, right? I think it's like we're
Yeah,
almost spoiled in a way. We're so blessed that we're able to have that as the norm when most kids are just sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, learning about what we're seeing in books, right? So
exactly. Yeah, I remember we were in Telluride and we were there for a couple weeks. And so the boondocking spot we were at didn't have any data, so we had to go in Telluride to get Wi-Fi. To like a little bit of a groove, like where we would go there, do school and work, and then come back home. And we were like to the point where it felt monotonous. Oh man, I can't believe it's so monotonous. And then you take a second and you're like, wow, we're in Telluride in the beautiful Rocky Mountains, and this is where. So it's like, yeah,
yes, 100%. You're like, wow, you don't like realize it until like you take a step back from it. You're like, hold up, I'm like doing school in these beautiful mountains. Like, just
yeah,
soak that in, right?
yeah. I'm spoiled. Sorry.
Exactly. I'm like, oh hey.
So, what are you struggling with right now? Anything in particular?
I would say I do struggle with being like lonely. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely when it comes that's one of the downsides of traveling. Obviously, you're either or with my experience, you're either with a bunch of people or you're with nobody. Or you're with somebody and then you're with nobody kind of thing because you're traveling obviously. So the different places you hit are going to have people and they're not going to have people. So I would definitely say struggling to be with friends, especially in Florida, because nobody who travels is really going to be in Florida. So because it's hot,
Yeah.
everybody goes out west or up the East Coast kind of. So
Yeah.
that has definitely been a struggle. But I would say that since I've gotten older and I have my own phone now, I can connect with people and I FaceTime them and call them and message them, and it helps me keep in touch so I don't get too lonely, right? So
Yeah. It isn't the same, but it's better than nothing.
exactly.
So, do you have any advice for other teens about that?
I mean, just enjoy every moment you have with people and be with it because that could be the last moment you have with that person for maybe another year because your plans may just not meet up, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy have with people so much more than you would think you would usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say like when I'm traveling and right now I'm not with anybody, like when I'm with people, I try to hang out as much as I can. I go outside and I hang out with all the people, do all these things I probably wouldn't usually do just because I want to connect with them, right? And I'm not when I wouldn't usually be able to do that when
Yeah.
I'm not with people kind of thing.
And I think the appreciation comes naturally, but also appreciate, when you're by yourself because you're taking time for yourself and being able to grow as a person.
100%.
So, do you have any advice for other teens on any other topics? Homeschooling, space,
Um
siblings?
yeah, siblings, right? I would say just it's that time of the our life where we're like trying to figure out who we're meant to be, where we're supposed to be, like what we want to learn, what we want to do when we grow up. And it can take our time away, right? But I just say just live in the moment and enjoy all this time you're having with your family and make meaningful connections as much as you can and enjoy the places that you see as much as you can because it could be the last time you get the chance to do that, right? So
Mm-hmm. Going
that
place
would
and
be
I may never
yep,
go again.
exactly. So that's what I would say.
Good stuff. So, moving on to the traveling, what is a place or experience that you will never forget?
Ooh, so being part of full-time families, that it's a community, a bunch of people get together at different rallies and who travel like us. And it was last in May. They had a teen rally and it went for a week, and it was just specifically for the teens. So you would register your kid or your teen, obviously, and they would have all these activities for every day for a week, and it was just so awesome. I thought I had best experience of my life personally. But because they had game nights, they even taught you how to write your own resume. They had like a teen night out. They had prom. They had jam sessions with different musicians. Like you would bring your instrument and all play together. It was so much fun. I would say that would
No.
probably be one of my favorite experiences.
And I'd just like to mention that Annie was prom queen, so she had an especially good.
I wouldn't say it's especially, but it was fun. It was
Yes, you
fun.
did.
It was a lot of fun.
It
I would say
was
that would
fun.
be my favorite experience. And that's where
Yeah,
I met you.
yeah,
So,
exactly. That was fun.
mhm.
So you love the rally. Do you have any other rallies that stick out in your mind?
I wouldn't say rallies. That was probably my favorite rally I've ever been to. But
Well,
I
you know,
do have,
hangouts.
not, that one was probably my favorite.
There you go.
Yep.
What about a favorite place?
Ooh, okay. So I love the beach and I love the mountains, but I'm gonna pick beach over mountains this time because I love snorkeling and we went down into the Florida Keys and we went on like a snorkeling trip and they took us out there and my family all got seasick besides me, but uh, I was diving in and out, snorkeling, viewing all these beautiful rainbowed fish, and like I love marine biology and the water and swimming and all that, so that was really up my alley. I had a great time there.
Cool. Yeah, we went to Key West and did a little snorkeling, but we got all the bad spots.
Oh no, was it like fog
It
or?
wasn't it wasn't muggy. It was like one spot we went to, my dad barfed. I was about 1 second away from barfing, and then we got super seasick, obviously. And the spot we went to was like also tumultuous waves, and so it was hard to
Oh
see.
yeah. Mhm. I would say when we went out there, my dad also threw up actually, which is kind of funny. Um, but it was very choppy. The waves were like I think like 6 feet high. I was still swimming, but it was a little nerve wracking. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. It
yeah.
was very windy for sure.
And then we tried Zachary Taylor State Park, and that was better wave wise, but me and my sister didn't see that many fish. But my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, you have to go back out there. There were tons of fish." And we're like, "Where?"
Where? Yeah, I would say that the snorkeling trips you'll see more fish. Um, but you're not always guaranteed that you're going to get like the best like viewing experience when you're at a state park. You can go when you want,
Yeah.
kind of thing, because you have to plan ahead with the trips, right? But when you go when you want, you can go when it's less windy and that's clearer.
I think if you want to see a fish, hire somebody.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that seems to be it. So, do you have a bucket list for the future? I know you guys have been traveling for a long time, but do you have any places you haven't seen yet?
Well, I have seen the Grand Canyon, but I want to. They have these tours. I won't say tours, but camping trips you can. I wouldn't say like rent, but you go down with a group of people. You hike down into the Grand Canyon, and you stay overnight in there. Like you pack everything you're gonna need for the next 3 days. Like you pack a tent, you pack your food, toilet paper, everything that you're going to need in your bag, and you're gonna hike down into that canyon and stay a night, and hike back up the next day.
That's
So I
pretty
want to do
sweet.
that with my mom. I love hiking personally, so that's something I want to do. And then I also want to hike the Appalachian Trail at some point.
I thought about doing that as like a gap year thing.
Hmm.
Thought that might be cool.
That would be a fun experience for a gap year kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to join me?
Yeah, right? Yeah, count me in.
All right. So, hiker, what is your hikes that you've been on?
Ooh. So, I love the super long ones. So I can't remember the name specifically, but it was in Grand Tetons National Park. And it took us to a point by a lake. And it was 5 miles there, 5 miles back. I would say that that one would be my favorite because there were just these beautiful trees everywhere you looked, like these thick pine forests that were just magical, almost something like you would see in like a fairy movie kind of thing. I just thought that was so beautiful and just
Yeah, the
so pretty.
Tetons are beautiful.
They are definitely one of my favorite national parks.
Cool. So, this is my favorite question. Where would you never go again?
Oh, oh man, it would definitely be the Florida Everglades. I have a story for that one too. Can
I
you
already
agree with
know
me
what
on
you're
that one?
thinking. I already know what you're
Yes.
thinking. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I have a story, but so it was the first time we ever went there, and I had just got a brand new phone, right? And I'm out there and I'm holding my phone in my hand, and I look over a rail just to see what is in the water, or the I don't know what you would call it, the swamps kind of thing. There was a little, like a little nest under the fence, kind of not the fence, the what would you the guardrail? I can't speak right now. I'm sorry. There was like a little like wasp nest or something under the guardrail, and my finger touched it, and it was the one that my phone was in, the hand that was my phone was in, right?
Yeah.
And I get stung by the wasp,
Oh,
and my phone goes flying in the air and plops right down into the water. So
yikes.
I did not receive my phone. I did not get it back, because there's alligators in there, obviously, right? Not gonna try and get it. But so I lost my phone and I'm stung. So that was a very terrible experience. And then we went back, um, I think last year, and we went back last year, and the thing was, it's just like there's just so many alligators, and it's just like alligator after alligator, and you're like, um, is it gonna stop? Like, because I feel like it's just too, there's just like too many alligators, and it's just that's all
Not
there is to see.
natural. It's not natural.
Mhm.
Did you see any crocodiles?
I have not seen any crocodiles.
They're supposed to be there, but I don't know if they're actually there.
Mhm.
We need a
I
comment. We need a comment. If you've
yeah,
seen a crocodile in Everglades, please let me know.
yes, because I have never seen them. I need to know if there are crocodiles in the Everglades.
Yes, we need to know. Yeah, and also the mosquitoes there are just terrible.
They are. They are
But
very, very bad. We boondocked in a site that was like, I want to say like 30 minutes away, and it was so hot and so buggy. Like we had all these citronella candles going on and everything, and I'm just like, man, these bugs are super annoying.
yeah, we were at the point where like we had to like. Have you seen those like alien movies where they have to like de-radiate people and get them undressed from their radiation suits? What
Yeah.
is it called? It's called like an air chamber or something. We basically had to do
Hmm.
that. We had to do
Yeah.
that with the
Yes.
mosquitoes.
With the mosquitoes, 100%, because like they will find a way to get in if you let them.
Yes. Yes.
They're
And we
like
were like,
little ninjas.
exactly. And we were like sprinting to the truck, like, they won't get
Go
you if
go
you
go.
sprint.
Yes, exactly. It's insane how like prudent they are there. Potent, my bad.
Yes, and we were in the truck, and there was like legions of them against our windows trying to get in because they knew we were in there, and we're like, oh my god.
I know, like you can run, but you can't hide, kind of thing, and you're just like, oh, back up, mosquitoes.
Pretty much. So yeah, Everglades is probably on my never go again list too.
All right, I'm glad we can agree on that one.
Yeah, because I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, and a lot of it is marshland, and so going to the Everglades, it was kind of boring because it just reminded me of Charleston.
Mhm.
So it was like nothing really interesting. And we didn't see any
Yeah.
flamingos or crocodiles. So
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Nothing too
so
special.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. All right. If you could, what would you change about your RV setup?
Hmm. I would say so. We upgraded about a year ago. We were living in a 32-foot travel trailer for about 4 years, and we upgraded to a 42-foot fifth wheel.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yes, right? Yeah, totally. So originally was sharing a bunk room with my brothers, and I had a twin size bunk. But this new camper, I have a loft that's about like a queen size kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I have my own space, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But the only thing that I would say I wish it had was a higher roof. Like I
Yeah.
cannot sit up at all without like breaking my back, like kind of thing. Like I cannot sit up straight. I have to be hunched over all the time, kind of thing. So I think that it would be nice to have a taller ceiling to be able to play guitar in here,
Mm.
um, and do school. So that would be probably the one thing I would have changed for the RV setup.
Yeah. I thought I wanted a loft in here, but my mom was like, "You're not gonna be able to sit up." So I was like, "All right, pass."
That was the one of the reasons I almost didn't want to get this one, because obviously I couldn't sit up, but everything else was exactly what we wanted. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have our big living room space. My brothers have their own room. My dad can work in his own bedroom without having to lay on the bed, kind of thing. So it just made everything a lot easier. I'm like, okay, a short roof, I can handle it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, if I had another sibling and they were sharing a room, then I would not mind the loft at all.
Yes, so the two younger siblings definitely cut it as well for me.
Yeah, so I understand, and that would be cool to have like your own.
Yeah, it almost is kind of like a cave already, but like just having a little bit taller would be a little bit nicer. I have a question for you. Thought about this one earlier. So, you know that we like travel around the country in the U.S. If you could pick any other country in the world to full time in, which one would you full time in? Like travel around?
Well, let's go ahead and assume that there are no COVID lockdowns in any other
Yes,
part of the
yes,
world.
yes. No
Assuming that
COVID
it's
lockdowns.
totally perfect. Probably
Hmm.
Australia.
Australia, how come?
Because I've always wanted to go to Australia and being able to do it in the RV, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. It's supposed to be really pretty over there.
Yeah, and they probably have some supreme boondocking spots.
Oh, you're probably right about that. I didn't think about that part.
So probably that. And they have a good variety. They have like, the outback, which is most of it, but then they have the coast and you can go see the Great Barrier Reef, and then they have cool cities like Sydney. So that is
Yeah,
my answer. What about you?
definitely. I would say Europe. I know it would be harder with an RV in Europe because there's a lot more cities and things like that. So maybe I would just full-time travel where I rented a hotel in different areas kind of thing and visited all the different well, I mean that's a continent. So I mean I would do just visit all the different countries individually in Europe.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Europe's a continent. You mean one country, then yeah. If Europe
Well, like
counts as a country,
continent or
then
country.
if Europe counts as a country, then I would totally do Europe. I'd be doing that with you.
All right, okay, I can count it then. I'll let it.
If
I'll
you
let
had
it
to pick,
slide. I'll let a continent slide.
if you had one country though, pick a country.
Ooh, I would say France or Italy
Mm,
because you can both have the countryside of them, but you can also have the city side of them, and they're both supposed to be beautiful.
yeah, I'm Italian, so I'd probably do Italy. But
Yeah, me too. I'm Italian as well.
there you
Hmm.
go.
Yeah, I have a family who lives in Italy actually. So
That's super cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I like bread and lots of food. So
yeah, that would definitely be the place to go.
yes, awesome. Any closing thoughts, Annie?
No, ma'am. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining us. And thanks to all you nomads out there for listening. If you want to be on the podcast, say hi or follow us on social media, check out our link below. And be sure to share Teens on the Road with your friends. Thanks again for listening and have fun out there.